Internal Revenue Service IRS tax news. IRS issues guidance on taxability of Dependent Care Assistance Program for 2021-2022. IR 2021-105, May 10th, 2021. Washington. The Internal Revenue Service today issued guidance on the taxability of Dependent Care Assistance Programs for 2021 and 2022, clarifying that amounts attributable to carryovers or an extended period for incurring claims generally are not taxable. The guidance also illustrates the interaction of this standard with the one-year increase in the exclusion for employer-provided dependent care benefits from $5,000 to $10,500 for the 2021 taxable year under the American Rescue Plan Act. Because of the pandemic, many people were unable to use the money they set aside in their dependent care assistance programs in 2020 and 2021. So they set up the programs, they weren't able to use them. Generally, under these plans, an employer allows its employee to set aside a certain amount of pre-tax wages. So that's the tax benefit, of course, to set aside the pre-tax wages in order to pay for the dependent care expenses. The employee's expenses are then reimbursed from the Dependent Care Assistance Program. So then they would be basically reimbursed at that point, and that's how you get some tax benefit from it. Carryovers of unused Dependent Care Assistance Programs amounts generally are not permitted. So usually you don't have this carryover portion, and that's where the change, it looks like, is going to be. Although a 2.5-month grace period is allowed. However, recent coronavirus-related legislation, the Taxpayer Certainty and Disaster Tax Relief Act of 2020, allowed employers to amend their plans, permit the carryover of unused Dependent Care Assistance Program amounts to plan years ending in 2021 and 2022. So we have that extended, it looks like, period of carry forward that could be a benefit, or to extend the permissible period for incurring claims to plan years over the same period. So today's Notice 2021-20, there's a link to Notice 2021-26 here, clarifies the taxpayers that if these dependent care benefits would have been excluded from income if used during taxable year 2020 or 2021 if applicable, these benefits will remain excludable from gross income and are not considered wages of the employee for 2021 and 2022. Notice 2021-15, there's a link to that here, issued in February 2021, states that if an employer adopted a carryover or extended period for incurring claims, the annual limits for Dependent Care Assistance Program amounts apply to amounts contributed, not to amounts reimbursed or available for reimbursement in a particular plan or calendar year. Therefore, participants in Dependent Care Assistance Programs may continue to contribute the maximum amount to their plans for 2021 and 2022. For more on coronavirus-related tax relief, see irs.gov. So there's a link to the coronavirus-related tax relief. There'll be a link to this in the description. Also notice that there's going to be a link to the notices as well. So if you're in a situation where you have dependent care assistance programs, either as an employer or as an employee, possibly, most likely, you want to take a look at that and get some more detail on it. We got the notices links here as well. And again, there'll be a link to this in the description.